Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of looking at what we call countries versus what they call themselves. In part 1, we covered basically all the map by talking about all the different countries whose exonym is the same as their endonym, or at least related. In this video, we'll finish it off by talking about all the ones whose names are entirely unrelated. Don't worry, they're also the most interesting. Let's start with Morocco. The story of Morocco actually bears some similarity to that of Japan we saw last week. The English name Morocco comes from the Spanish Marruecos, which comes from the Moroccan city of Marrakesh. In Morocco, however, the name is Al-Maghreb in Arabic, or El-Maghrib in Berber, meaning sunset or west, referring to Morocco's westernmost position in the Islamic world. The endonym for Finland is Suomi, and the origin of both is pretty murky. It's theorized that it might be related to Sami, a group of indigenous people to northern Scandinavia who speak the language of the same name. It is theorized that both terms come from the Proto-Balto-Slavic zim. As for Finland, it comes from the word Finn, a term that was originally used to refer to the Sami people, and might come from an Old Norse term meaning hunter-gatherer. However, while they are related, the Sami and ethnic Finns are not the same, and using Finn to refer to the Sami is now considered derogatory. But nevertheless, it's stuck. Egypt has the endonym Misir, though in Egyptian Arabic it is pronounced Masir, and it comes from a word meaning civilization, tracing its roots back to the Akkadian Misri, related to words meaning border or frontier. The name Egypt comes from the Middle French Egypte, which comes from the Latin Aegyptos, which comes from the ancient Greek Aegyptos, which is thought to have come from the ancient Egyptian Hut-Ka-Ptah, meaning house of the Ka of Ptah, referring to the city of Memphis, the one in Egypt, not the one in Tennessee. The Maldives get their English name from the Devehi Male, the name of the main island, and from the Prakrit Diva, a word meaning island from the Sanskrit Dvipa. In Devehi, the country is known as Devehi Rajya, from words meaning island dweller and realm, from the Sanskrit Rajya. We've also got Greenland, which, yes, I know, is not a country, but it's my video and I do what I want. I actually talked about it and the similarly named Iceland in this video, but for those of you who haven't seen it, yes, Greenland was in fact named that way because Eric the Red desperately wanted people to come settle there, and it seemed like a more appealing name than Glacierland. In Greenlandic, the name is Kalalit Nunat, which means land of the Kalalit. The name for Albania in Albanian is Shqiperia, which may come from the word Shqipe, meaning eagle, which would make sense given the flag of Albania. Another possibility is Shkupi, the Albanian word for the city of Skopje, the capital of the Roman province of Dardania, and now the capital of northern Macedonia. It could also be from the Latin excipere, or it could be a calque of the Proto-Slavic Slovene, using the word shkipoi, meaning to speak clearly. After all, it is quite common to name one's own group people who speak clearly, and name everybody else people that are impossible to understand. What about the English term Albania? Well, that's a little more clear. We know it comes from the medieval Latin Albania, which in turn comes from the Byzantine Greek Albanos, or like maybe Arbanan. A lot of confusion stems from the entirely unrelated Caucasian Albania, which comes from the ancient Greek Albania and the Latin Albania, a mistranslation of the old Armenian Aluanc. And this is without even mentioning that the medieval Latin Albania also referred to Scotland from the Old Irish Albu. Why are there so many Albanias? It might be simpler to just take a leaf from Albania's book and call it Shqiperia. Speaking of the Caucasus, let's go to Georgia. The name in English comes from the Middle Persian Wiruzan, which became the Classical Persian Gurj, which then became the medieval Latin Georgia. How exactly it got from Wiruzan to Georgia is something of a mystery. It is believed to have been influenced by Georgius because St. George was popular in the area, but it might also be from the Middle Persian Gurg, meaning wolf, or from Georgi, agricultural tribes, named after the ancient Greek Georgos, meaning farmer. The name in Georgian is Sakartvelo, which comes from the Proto-Kartvelian Kart, meaning inhabitant of Kartli, a region of Georgia. Under Georgia is Armenia, whose name in English comes from the Latin Armenia, which comes from the ancient Greek Armenia, which comes from Old Persian. The name in Armenian is Hayastan. The Hay part is a little unclear in its origin, potentially from a word meaning Hittite, or maybe a word meaning metal, but the Stan part is very clear, coming from the same Persian root as words like Afghanistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. As for Greece, its name in English comes from the Old French, Grèce, from the Latin, Graecia, from the ancient Greek, Graikos. As for where the ancient Greek comes from, one hypothesis is from Graia, a city on the coast of Boeotia, which was given to the Greeks of southern Italy by the Romans. As for Greeks today, they call their country Elada or Elas, though the official name is Elleniki Demokratia, which means Hellenic Republic. Elada comes from the ancient Greek Hellada, which is the accusative form of Hellas, from Helen, from Heloi, for the Greek people around Dodona, from Hella, meaning seat, referring to the shrine of Zeus in Dodona, from the Proto-Hellenic Hella, from the Proto-Indo-European Sedlo, from sed, meaning to sit. So in summary, Greece is basically called chair. What about Hungary? Its name in English comes from the Old English Hungria, which comes from the medieval Latin Hungaria, which is just Ungaria with an H added on front because of association with the Huns. This in turn came from the Proto-Slavic this, which came from the name of the Onogors, a group of equestrians that pulled up from the Pontic Caspian steppe. Their name means 10 tribes. To the people that live there, the country is called Magyarország, which means country of the Magyar in Hungarian, or as they say in Hungarian, Magyar. Magyar itself comes from the Old Hungarian Magyar. The Mog part might be from a Proto-Ugric word meaning man, which might in turn be an Indo-Iranian borrowing, or potentially from a Proto-Uralic word meaning to speak. The bit is from the Proto-Uralic Urka, meaning man, and is a cognate of the Eastern Mari, Urga, meaning sun, and the Finnish, Urko, meaning man. Thus, the name of Hungary in Hungarian is Man Country. It is very clear where the name for India comes from, at least in English. It comes from the Indus River, through Latin and ancient Greek. The name in ancient Greek comes from the Old Persian, from a Sanskrit word meaning river, ultimately from Proto-Indo-Iranian. This is the same origin as Hindu. Meanwhile, in basically every language spoken in India that isn't English, its name is some variation on Bharat. All of these are borrowed from the Sanskrit Bharata, from Bharatavarsa, meaning the realm of Bharata, a legendary ruler of India in Hindu and Jain theology. As I mentioned in this video, this makes him one of the people with the most land on earth named after them. Bordering India to the north is Bhutan, whose name in English comes from the French Bhutan, from the Nepali Bhutan, from the Prakrit Bhotamta, meaning end of Tibet. This comes from the Tibetan Bodh, meaning Tibet, and the Sanskrit Anta, a cognate of the English end. In Bhutanese, which in Bhutanese is Zonta, the name of the country is Drukyul, meaning Dragon Village, which is nearly as cool as Bhutan's flag. Now let's go to the Korean Peninsula, where two different countries insist that they are Korea, the Republic of Korea and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, more commonly known as South Korea and North Korea, respectively. The name Korea came into English from Dutch, which got it from Portuguese, which got it from Mandarin or Hokkien, which got it from the Sino-Korean Goryeo, the name of Korea 1,000 years ago. This is itself a shortening of Goguryeo, which is one of the ancient kingdoms of Korea, one of the big three in fact. Nowadays, the two countries have very different names for the peninsula they share. North Korea uses Chosun, which is a name of a different ancient kingdom of Korea, and South Korea uses Hanguk, which is a shortening of the original Tehanchekook, meaning Empire of the Great Han. The Han bit is referencing Samhan, the three kingdoms of Korea, one of which was Goguryeo. This name comes from a name that was originally used for three ancient tribal confederations in the southern Korean peninsula. What about China? Its name in English comes from Portuguese, which may have gotten it from Venetian with some influence from Old French, which got it from Persian, which got it from Sanskrit, which got it from Qing, the westernmost of the ancient Chinese states. In China, China is referred to by Zhongguo, meaning central state or middle kingdom. The earliest evidence we have of this name is on the He Tsung, a 3,000-year-old ritual bronze vessel. The name was used during the Warring States period to refer to the central states, but it wasn't used to refer to the country as a whole, since the name used was always just the name of whatever dynasty was in control at the time. It wasn't until the Song dynasty that they started using Zhongguo as a term to refer to the trans-dynastic entity defined by common ancestry, culture, and language, that is, China. As for Taiwan, the name Zhonghua Mingguo is quite related to that of mainland China, meaning Republic of China. As for the name Taiwan, it started with the Taiwan, an indigenous group of Taiwan. This led to the Dutch naming a coastal sandbar Taiyuan, which then spread into Chinese. The name Taiwan was used for the establishment of Taiwan Prefecture all the way back in 1684. From there, it spread to refer to the entire island. These are not its only names. Others include Chinese Taipei, which is what the People's Republic of China pressures them to use for international organizations like the Olympics. There's also the name for the island, Formosa, from the Portuguese Ilha Formosa, meaning beautiful island. Mainland China also has plenty of other names, including Huatia, Shenzhou, and Zhouzhou. Just about every language has a different word for Germany. Some of these come from a Proto-Slavic word meaning speechless, since Slavs can't understand German. This includes the Polish Niemcy. Some come from the names of Germanic tribes. This includes the Finnish Saksa from the Saxons, as well as the French Allemagne and the Spanish Alemania from the Alemanni tribe. This might include the English Germany as well, since this comes from the Latin Germania from Germani, which might come from the name of a specific tribe, but it also might come from roots meaning close kin, or others meaning neighbor, or others still meaning noisy. But in German, or as it's called in German, Deutsch, the name of the country is Deutschland. This is similar to the word Dutch, as they both come from the Proto-Germanic Theodiskas, meaning of the people, referring to the Germanic peoples as a whole. And with that, I think we've officially done it. We've seen the rich stories behind the names of different countries, especially those whose endonyms and exonyms are unrelated. I hope y'all enjoyed. These videos take a lot of work, so I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like, a subscribe, and leave a comment down below saying what I got wrong. I hope you tune in next week where I'm going to talk about my third ever Scrabble tournament. If you like words enough to have sat through this entire video, I have a feeling you'll like it. Have a nice day!